Hi everyone, welcome back to the Relax and Craft YouTube channel. My name's Fleur and today we're going to be learning how to make these beautiful Cascade earrings. So they are based on a chainmail weave that's called Shaggy Loops, but they just make the most beautiful waterfall earrings. Now you can make these earrings with any small gemstone or bead or pearl. I wouldn't go too big with this design in the size of gemstones, just because they can get quite heavy if they're going to be for earrings, but you could if you wanted to make this into a necklace or into a bracelet as well. But you don't need very many things to get these beautiful earrings made. All you're going to need are some head pins and earring findings, some very small jump rings. Now I'm using a 2.75 inner diameter on a 1mm wire, and I've got these absolutely darling little coins, faceted Amazonite coins here. They're absolutely beautiful. They're so sparkly, and there is a slight colour variation in them, so if you wanted to ombre the colours down, if you've got ombre gemstones, it would look absolutely beautiful. So the first thing that we need to do is to make some of our little wrapped loop sections. So we're going to need 23 for each earring. So you can make them shorter or longer, but for this, the length that I have here, this is 23 of our little wrapped loops. So tool wise, we just need our round nose pliers, our cutters, and then 2 pairs of chain nose or flat nose pliers just to make the chainmail section. So I'm going to just start by making a wrapped loop section. Now if you're not very confident with wrapped loops, or you don't like making them, you can do open loops as well. It's entirely up to yourselves. But if I just bring everything out of the way and just zoom you in just a little bit. Now we all have different ways of doing wrap loops. This is just the way that I like to do them. So I've got my little bead on my head pin. Now you notice that these head pins are quite short because they've only got small beads. I don't have a lot of wastage with these. They're really great. If you can get the shorter head pins for these kind of projects, they will save you lots of little spare bits of wire that you cut off that's slightly wasteful. So holding my head pin just above my bead, I'm right near the end of my round nose pliers. Now these are 0 round nose pliers, and they create a very small little round little loop because the nose is so small. I've pushed the wire over onto that right angle, so you can see there it's on that nice right angle, nice sharp crisp bend. And now lifting the pliers up, so I have this top jaw to be able to make and form my loop around. So bringing that all the way down till it can't go any further, and you can see we've created this half a little loop. I'm going to place my pliers back in, but this time I've placed the loop on the inside of the jaws with the free jaw at the bottom. I'm going to just push and form that around so that this end piece of wire is now behind the stalk of what we were just holding previously. So you can see now that I've got a nice round loop at the top. Now at this point we can take our round nose pliers out and just hold that loop with our chain nose or flat nose pliers. Now depending on how strong your hands are, you can either use your hands to wrap the wire around or another pair of pliers, and all we're going to do is just wrap the surplus of the head pin around that little stalk until it reaches the bead. Now we do have to just be careful that we don't damage the bead in any way. Just squeeze that down, just straighten that up. So I've just got a tiny little bit of wire sticking out there which I don't need, which is surplus, so I can just take my cutters and cut that away. Just pop that over there, and then again just taking your time just to straighten everything up and just knit that little end of wire in. Now this is an earring, so we don't want it to get stuck in your hair or scratch if it is going to be for a bracelet or a necklace. So just take your time squeezing that little end in, and there we've got one of our components which we can now use for our earring. So I've gone ahead and made all 23 of my little sections here. Now the way that we need to form this chainmail weave is really simple. It's just based on a 1-in-1 chain. So I'm just going to bring some of my jump rings over, and then taking my 2 chain nose or flat nose pliers. Now I'm using the Jewellery needle nose and the bent needle nose pliers here, so they're very fine pliers. What I'm going to do is just I'm going to open up one of my jump rings, and you can see if I just bring the finished one over, can you see there that the very first jump ring is attached straight onto the the ear wire. So taking my ear wire, I'm just going to add this first jump ring straight through. But what we want to do now is we're going to add on one of our little sections, and then we're going to add on another of our little sections. So I've got 2 of my wrapped loops in place, and I'm going to close that jump ring up. Okay, so that's what I've got so far. Now I need another open jump ring, and again, before I add this into the weave, I'm going to just add on 2 of my little units. Now what we're looking for when we add this jump ring into the previous jump ring is we just need one of those units on either side, and then just slip that next jump ring through the previous jump ring, so the open jump ring through the previous jump ring, and close. And you can see now how it's starting to form these beautiful little cascades going down. So I'll just do one more with you. So taking a open jump ring, just opening that up, taking 2 of my little units, again finding the bottom jump ring, find the 2 little units that are already attached onto that, take the open jump ring and just go through in between those 2 little units and close. So that's 3, so that's 6 of my little units in place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on adding these until I get to my final 3 little wrap loops, and then I'll show you how we're going to finish these earrings off. So I've gone ahead and put all of the elements in. So I've got 20 of my little wrap loops in there, so a chain of 10 with 20 of my wrap loops, and then my final jump ring I'm going to add on 3 of my little units, so the last 3 little units going on, and then at the bottom, the reason why we're going to put 3 on is so that we've got a really nice ending point, so we've got a nice little cluster at the bottom as well, so it doesn't look like it's missing something at the bottom. But if you have a larger gemstone, you may want to put a larger gemstone on the bottom. I just like the cluster of 3, so I'm just going to close this jump ring up, and there we have, I just bring the other one over, oops, a beautiful matching pair of cluster earrings that haven't used very many of my gemstones. I've used 46 gemstones and not very many jump rings, and a beautiful pair of shepherd hooks. These ones are sterling silver because unfortunately my ears don't like silver plated findings, but you can have whichever finding that you want at the top there, and they are super simple to make with very little of your findings that you need. So I hope you've enjoyed this short tutorial on how to create these gorgeous cascade or shaggy loop earrings. If you are going to make some of these, I'd love it if you could tag us into any pictures on social media. So if you hashtag relax and craft, I'll always be able to see it. If you've loved this video and you'd like to see more tutorials on jewellery making, then please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that bell notification and press all so you'll never miss when I drop a new tutorial, unboxing or a tool review. Many thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.